Hey, everybody.
Yes, hi.
Welcome to Political Head Trauma.
Not yet.
Okay, well, welcome to those of you that are on with us right now.
Remember, we got to start up all these different things.
How great will it be when we hit the big time and we have producers and all of that to do all the stuff, all the things.
Okay, now do it.
Welcome to Political Head Trauma. Hi, everybody. My name is Holly. This is Jared and Political Head Trauma, where if
Head Trauma had a podcast, it would sound like this.
Humana. So, oh my gosh, another big week. We're still winning. The left has kind of lost their noodle. So I just want to jump right into it. So many things, guys. So many things. So I don't know if you follow Substack. We did have a guest on that she had her own Substack. We've had a couple that actually have a Substack that is very interesting. I have never dove into Substack myself. So I was turned on to it today by a podcaster and just reading just the beginning of the Substack. Now, for those of you that may not know, USAID, AID, is one of the first departments that Elon and his group have decided to dive in on. And that's one of the first departments they have found millions of wasted US tax dollars. And this was founded, I believe, under JFK, which just swipe of a pen. And in the course of all this time, all of this has happened and been uncovered. So I just want to hear, this is from a Substack called Echo Loves You, EKO, and I will share that. But this is just the beginning, okay? In a Treasury basement, fluorescent lights hummed around 4 young coders. Their screens cast blue light across government-issued desks, illuminating energy cans and agency badges as their algorithms crawled through decades of payment data. One number kept growing, 17 billion in redundant programs and counting. We're in. Akash Baba messaged the team. All of it.
It's insane. The money that they're talking about USAID, it's sent out. It's insane.
And this is a group of people aging from 16 and up that work with Elon.
Of course, there are people that speak binary.
And they're able to, their code has already mapped 3 subsystems. I'm going to get their names wrong, but Luke Ferrator's algorithms were tracing payment flows across agencies. Ethan Sheotran's analysis revealed patterns that career officials didn't even know existed. By dawn, they would understand more about the Treasury's operations and people who had worked there for decades. This wasn't a hack. This wasn't a breach. This was authorized disruption. Now, I highly, highly recommend you read this, or, I'm going to share it. I hope that you'll read it. But
you don't even
at the
have
end of the day, this proves a couple of things. Donald Trump hit the ground running because this starts at 2 a.m. on January 21st. By dawn, they had hacked into the Treasury's full list of departments. And where the Treasury, why they went there is because the Treasury is the heart where all the money goes. And the US AID, it just happens to be their first victim. They're tearing the sign down now. That department is closed. They went from 10,000 employees to 300. And this is absolutely, absolutely crazy. And we all knew it was happening, right? But now these coders, and you're going to see CNN, one of the coders goes by Big Balls is his computer name. And they keep, if you wanted to get CNN to use those words over and over, this is what, I don't know if this is some big hack or what, like just some big, they're just laughing about this. But you guys, Donald Trump had to have been planning this since his second election in 2020, because this has taken years of code writing for these young people. Elon and these people have been having to keep this under wraps. They wouldn't have been sharing it, because had they shared it and it got wind, stuff would have maybe been erased. Another reason I think it sucks that Kash Patel has been put off another week, because I would be watching the infrastructure of the FBI files if it was me, to make sure stuff isn't getting erased there. But these men found, and they wrote these algorithms so just to find patterns. And they found so many patterns of reoccurring expenses, duplicate expenses, that these actually going out of the treasury, they're going across all these, and they're all tracing these payment flows. I'm sorry.
Well, they've got 17 million from USAID. So it's United States of America International Development, whatever.
Money that was sent to other countries.
For Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
Oh, the Clinton Network got a lot.
Yeah, and Haiti, all that Haiti, that ripoff that
Clinton
got.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Trump, Bush, both Bushes have foundations it went to. Of
course. And I think that's been a presidential thing until Trump. It seems
how they got
that
their money.
USAID, okay, when Trump became president, they're looking into this, and the truth will come out. I don't know if this is true or not. But when he became president in 2016, all of a sudden these opposition media and research groups, like Media Matters and all this, all of a sudden got a huge flux of money.
Politico,
all that. And they were all anti-Trump. But also, at the same time, that's when they started, when the internet, social media things started clamping down on conservative speech. I'll bet when they end up looking into that deeper, it was by hook or by crook through USAID.
Oh, sorry. That
You're
one's
okay.
never on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ollie's having a rough day with technology.
Technology is not.
It's kicking her butt. But anyway, so I'll bet we look into this. So USAID has been used to subvert the democratic will of the people in Trump's first term. And so just for that, it should be torn down. And that's fine. Tear it down. Get rid of it.
This, not only that, but this department has been sending money overseas for programs like, the trans opera and trans surgeries. Now, keep in mind, the money that's going to these countries, these countries did not want this there. It is not part of their culture. And yet this is tapped to the CIA's ability to go in and change governments and pick leaders. This is such a deep foxhole, folks, that they said there's one reoccurring thing they kept coming up with during this time: $17 billion. $17 billion in redundant programs, meaning they're constant throughout all these departments. And that is your money. And now the press is trying to make it seem like we didn't elect Elon Musk. Well, no kidding. We didn't elect any of the bureaucrats who've been sending this money. But this is our money, and they're trying to act like Elon's the jerk because he just pulled the sheet up and showed you what was under the bed. Now he's the jerk, and the press is saying the press is bought and paid for, folks.
Yeah.
As we already knew, but we didn't know how. It's in these special programs in these other countries that don't believe in more than two genders. Their faith is a Muslim country, for example, and they barely let women do anything, let alone let people be outwardly gay without their lives being at stake. And our government is putting in gay operas and transgender surgeries. And we wonder why these countries hate us.
Well, it's not just that, but every country USAID gets involved in has worse economic outcomes every time. They don't grow by themselves. It's what is it? Tom's Shoes? Is it Tom's Shoes would donate shoes in Africa and it destroyed their cobblers. And so, don't do things like that. But anyways, it if they used taxpayer money to subvert, for all you Democrats out there, to subvert the democratic will of the people, would that be considered an act of rebellion? Much, I don't know.
What if
like,
this money went to pay missionaries to go and convert all the Muslims in these countries to Christianity? How would the left feel about that?
oh, well, I mean, you want to see some explosions, but
And then look how they're acting and the violent rhetoric they're saying,
oh yeah,
which we need to go after them and we should all be. I mean, we have protesters up at Utah State Capitol right now or this afternoon all week because of this. Well, what are you angry about? You guys just learned
you found out you've been getting ripped off.
that you got ripped off, and we all have been ripped off. So what? You want to turn a blind eye because you so badly think US aid needs to stay in business?
I will tell you this. Two friends of mine that are girls that were vehemently anti-Trump after 2016, but they're both very intelligent women. But they're intelligent, but they were anti-Trump. They thought, and they were, you can imagine that our discussions were about my weird politics and their belief that the government is good. Right now, the words coming out of the mouth of both these two girls, and they do not know each other, is they want to confiscate all the wealth of all the politicians, especially the Clintons.
The Clintons do not look good in this.
After finding out everything that came out of this, and they're both previous Democrats,
probably big fans of Hillary too.
Yeah, both voted for Hillary in 2016, and both of them are up in arms about this. And they're making social media posts that that kind of make me go, "Whoa, easy there, Tiger." And I'm a radical, and they're fired up.
I'm seeing, if you're on X, I think you're seeing either people's heads explode or Elon Musk getting into detail about this. Now, I'm not going to say this Substack is absolutely true. It's written superbly, and life is stranger than fiction. So right now, I'm not sure. But the idea that even through, this has gone back far enough, even through Butler, Pennsylvania, when Trump was shot, even through all of this last few months leading up to the election, there were these teenagers with Elon Musk and a number of others writing this code for this specific reason, to dissect. And they've said now, we're going to go after the IRS next. And we're going to go after the Postal Service. And we will go into the military, into the Pentagon, because this algorithm works in such a way, and it's a protected, invented algorithm to track patterns, to track all kinds of things. It's amazing. You
lefties should support this. I mean, if you want the single payer health care, if you want any of that stuff, we've got to trim the government fat. Right. If you want any of that.
I mean,
what it's telling me is it's time to have a soft revolution. Like,
I think
I dare say
we have one based on the election.
Kind of, but I dare say everyone, and this hurts me to say, but you need to have a cold, hard look at your representative on the state and the federal level. And I almost say we need to spend a couple of terms tossing incumbents. And I love Celeste. She messaged me the other day. It's fantastic to be able to communicate with her as to what's going on real time. I think she's an honest and real person, but I think all politicians have gotten too long in the tooth and too comfortable, and we need to start washing them out. And also I'd make it so that their office, what do you call them? Office help, office, whatever, the interns and all that.
The bureaucrats?
No, I don't know if I'd call them bureaucrats.
Are they electeds?
No, but you know, I think that there should be a limit on that. Now, there's a lot of interns from the colleges that are there, which is way cool. Celeste got an intern from upstate New York.
Right.
I'm not going to bust any names out. Awesome young lady. She's studying to be a dirt doctor like Celeste, and she had an opportunity to intern, and she sought an opportunity to intern with Celeste so that she could be close to Celeste for the dirt doctorism or the soil science
staff. I mean, it would be
they're interns.
Yeah, but they're Senate and rep staff because they're paid, I believe.
But not all of them.
They are interns for college credit.
The interns, one of the interns was paid. He was from Utah State. But the young lady from upstate New York, she was not paid yet. But we need to start washing out DC. I mean, it seems like all the money and power goes there. I mean, when I was there in DC, you look around and every business that is seeking to, take a little bit of the purse is all there. And it just shows you that.
Oh, we learned.
We've got to rein this in.
Guys, this is just the beginning. This is the first department. This is the first department. We're 18 days in. 18 days. This was started 2 a.m. on January 21st. This is what's got me so excited that Trump went to how many balls and how many speeches and how many executive orders that day. And Elon Musk was a lot of those things.
And in the background,
and
there's
at midnight,
all these tweens.
they hit the books and they start the plan of uncovering what's been happening to your money, to my money, to this country,
to
and
our
how
wealth.
We have been funding our demise. We keep saying this over and over. But not only that, we've been funding the demise of many nations in the name of what?
Making enemies.
Of woke religion.
Did you see? Okay, here's this controversial. And
hi, Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Hi,
how's
Chad.
it going? Okay, Konstantin Kisin from
Jeff.
Trigonometry was on talking with, he was doing a review of when Tucker Carlson and Pierce Morgan did that chat. They were in Jerusalem. And Tucker pointed out that World War II was the great defense of liberty. And in the end of that, Great Britain lost all its liberty. And Pierce says, well, we went to fight for Poland. And Tucker says, how did that go? And Constantine's doing the review, and I really want to, if I was to ask him, I'd say, why didn't you approach what he said? Because what he said is Poland was lost. And it was lost to the USSR after that, handed over by, the Allies, because Uncle Joe was one of our allies, and he was so much worse than Adolf was. He was so much worse. You're not allowed to say that.
Stalin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stalin
killed, 30 times more than Hitler, and Mao 30 times more than Stalin. But we don't talk about.
I don't know if it's 30 times more.
I'm being rough estimates here.
I would say it's 4 times more. If I was to throw an estimate out, maybe 3 times more. But that's still, still Pol Pot carries the torch because he killed 1/3 of his population, and his reasons for it were insane. But anyways, and I way respect Konstantin Kisin. I think he's one of the best communicators of our time. He is a hard fighter for the West, but what he fails and what all these people fail to recognize is that while you're fighting for the West, don't fight for these things that are working against us, such as departments of our government that go around the world making enemies and destroying the wealth of the world so that their neoliberal project can continue to grow. I think globalism without the corruption in it might be plausible, but it's too corrupt right now. And that's why it's being torn down. That's why we don't like it, because it wasn't done honestly and fairly, and it wasn't done in a manner that makes it so that the lower people on the rungs in the U.S. can survive it.
It doesn't respect the cultures of which are that make it this world up. I mean, you cannot expect a culture of Muslims to fall into the same trap of woke culture of America because
What?
it goes against everything they believe in.
You don't
And
think-
who are we to tell them to change? That just like who are they to
Well-
tell us to change? Regardless of what nation you're in, when you have a culture of people that have built a world and a life and a country, what are we doing? What are we doing to them? Thousands of taxpayer dollars. No wonder they hate us.
Well, there was also at the end of World War I, there was a something King Commission, King someone commission, went around the Middle East asking all the Middle East, because the Ottoman Empire fell. So the Middle East was homeless. And back then we seemed to think that all these little countries had to have a patron. Who do you want to be your ruler? And almost to a T, all of them, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, all of them, everything from the Ottoman Empire said, we want the US. We have broken that trust with all those people now. None of them want us there. None of them trust us.
This is about oil and energy and power.
Couldn't there be an
And
honest way to go about it, though?
Absolutely. There could be.
I mean,
But this
I
is-
agree. We
This
need
is
this
decades
stuff.
and decades and decades of absolute corruption. And we ask ourselves, how do presidents leave the White House multimillionaires? It's not just paid gigs where they get to go talk, which, by the way, Joe Biden just signed with an agent. He probably doesn't know that, but he just signed with an agent. These
is he gonna
go and do talks? Who knows?
we got a 7-minute talk from Joe Biden at 9 a.m. at
Like,
this.
who wants to pay for that? And you want how much? Half
that's-
a million for
That's
7
all you
minutes?
get. And then he's gonna be in the middle of his talk and he's gonna go cross-eyed. And you know he's packing Depends.
Fred says, I want my money back. I wonder how much of that money, all that money is mine. Jeff, hi, Jeff. He said they had really special programs for your money, Fred.
What was that? What was that
I've shared
lady's
that
Heidi
Substack.
Fleiss? Fred, your money went to Heidi Fleiss.
Chad Grady Saunders says staff. I think he was trying to tell you the word.
Yeah, staff, but they are staff, but they're interns, and you got the chief. And I dig Celeste chief of staff. I would like to get to know our senator's stuff back there, but he's notoriously hard to get a hold of. But Celeste,
Celeste is brand new. She's only been in.
I know she
one
hasn't
full
been
year
poisoned yet.
in a few months, and I'm proud of her.
Very proud of her. Even though I don't agree with her on everything, she's smart, she's sharp, she's driven, she's dedicated,
She's transparent, at least,
and
especially on things you disagree
and you
about.
guys, and seriously, she will tell me honestly to my face, I signed this that you disagree with, and this is why I did it. And she will tell me straight up, and I can't argue with that. And I promise you, everyone needs to know this now. I talk a lot, and everybody else is smarter than me. So just know that.
Thank you for that. So,
All right. So Fred says, gosh dang it.
all the federal employees who are losing and will lose their job due to this misuse of funds built huge, really nice houses on the sand,
Yes.
and they've been living on the bribe. And again, I don't.
Yes.
Here's what I wanted. For any federal employees that know this was happening, shame for starters, shame, and I hope there's jail time. Because any one of you who take money, especially people like I'm responsible for a 501c3 where I am lucky enough and to get donations that go towards the group that I'm a part of. Spending that money is always difficult, and it always takes not just me, but a group of people to make that decision, because it is a trust that someone donates that money to you.
Mhm.
This is on a level times 10. This is a gun to your head money taken
Yes,
from
it
you
is.
for fear of imprisonment. And they don't care how they spend it. They don't care what you think of how they spend it. They had $10,000 subscriptions to Politico they were paying for, folks.
I know.
Politico.
Fred
Stalin
says
50 million.
Stalin 50 million, Mao 70. And those numbers may be bigger than that. Those are very conservative.
I've heard 100
estimates.
million at least with Mao.
With Mao, maybe, you know, but Mao, of course, had more people to kill. So, you know.
That's true.
Jeff says, and while there may be laws against some things, there are only laws, no punishments. 100%, they'll get away with it. Jordan, hey, how you doing? He says,
Hi, Jordan.
yo, hey guys, I am more liberty approach. The U.S. needs to get out of wars. These wars are bankrupting us. 100%, Jordan.
We're on the same page, sir.
Both established parties are always for the military-industrial complex. We need a government that is transparent. 100%.
No, the Pentagon is coming, and that the Pentagon with this new these new algorithms and the way they're looking, what they're going to uncover there. We as Americans who support our best patriots and our veterans and our soldiers and all of that, we have to be prepared to look at that and go, yikes, because I'm willing to bet money. There is so much money getting funded through the military industrial complex, and it's not getting to soldiers. It's not getting to a better fight on the ground, and it's not making us stronger like we think. It's going into contractors' pockets.
Yep.
It's going into
ex-presidents, brothers,
ex-senators.
I still think Ukraine
lobbyists.
is money laundering back to the Bidens. You have to show me proof it is not. Fred says Celeste is winning me over. Yes, from the first time I interviewed her, I like her. She's just real.
She's the most real representative. Her and Tim Burchett, I'm telling you, Tim, he's a great follow.
We're supposed to have an
Twitter
interview with him soon. Celeste,
yeah.
She says she's setting it up, and I believe her.
His ex follow, he gets out of committee and goes straight on X live. He says, well, in fact, he was in the drone committee, I think yesterday. He says, there are so much problems with the drones. There's no federal regulation. You can't shoot them out of the sky. And now they're under the FAA. But here's the thing. If we don't have regulation, he says, how do you know that a smart bomb's not on one of them? Or like David loves is an idea of having an armed drone. I mean, how do you know these things aren't on them? And he says it's only a matter of time before one of them gets sucked into an engine or something, and you lose hundreds of lives. And then they're going to talk about it. Plus, he says if we don't get it regulated, and the AI that's along with that, and AI that was talking about too in one of his committees, China is getting leaps and bounds ahead of us.
Well, they're not getting ahead of us.
Stuck in committees.
They're doing a different parallel on the side. The difference is China. Now, I'll bet DARPA is working on AI that makes Grok look like a playground. That Chinese one, the Swim With Me or whatever, has a picture of a whale on it. It's not written to the precision, so it's faster.
Guys, when you have a communist government or a dictator, you don't have to go through the red tape that you have to go through in a republic. That's just, they can invent anything they want.
No, they copy everything they want. And that's how they're doing it. So anyways, we need to.
I have to get off of something really fast. My coat, I'm sitting on it really weird.
Okay.
Okay,
anyways,
sorry.
She was sitting there wiggling. I thought
wardrobe malfunction.
Thought maybe the roids were getting her. Anyways, Dave says 80 million.
There's no roids here, people.
Dave says 80 million to subscribers. Jordan Lott says bribery should be illegal, 100%. Fred says 25% of political income was subscriptions for federal employees, and they were paying subscriptions at higher levels than the subscription would cost. It was insane. Dave says, what about Cox, brother? He gets money from his campaigns, according to the internet. And that's something I think honestly, every governor needs to be looked into, whether you like them or not.
Politicians, period.
Yep, everything. And not just politicians, anything. We might be entering a new age where this AI and internet and 22-year-old programmers are going to be the great exposers. There will be no more secrets. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to get ugly.
Campaign laws are written out in just a way that it's actually dumb if you're running a campaign and you don't hire a family member, because you have all these options and how you can spend your money. Why not spend it in-house? Have your spouse running this, and this, and give them a paycheck. It's like running a business. Give your children a job. There are ways to make your child come out of the gate swinging when they turn 18, because there's tax laws. We have to get to the bottom of this because we can't blame people for using the laws written, but they're written in order to gain the system
They've just
for
got to quit
certain
taxing
people.
us.
And yes, I would love it if we got rid of the IRS.
What if the overtime tax went away?
That's on the chopping block. So is the tip tax, which would help me, and the overtime for you. But guys,
man.
Somebody tell me, because what I read today, and I asked you to look it up to see, because the two sources I looked up said it's true that Trump signed an executive order to exit us from the UN.
Yeah, I watched that video that you sent me that it said, and it was the Sky News Australia.
Yes.
And it was just leftists freaking out, and all of them, like all the leftists, the actors and actresses. I have 4 kids, and one of them's bi, and one of them's this, and the other one's that. None of them are normal. That sounds to me like you were working real hard to fit in your leftist bubble. And
okay, did we leave the UN or not?
Your kids, I don't know.
Because I'm fine with it. The
UN, fine with it.
I'd like to not have the United States be part of the UN. I think the people who run the UN right now are countries that do not agree with us or have our interests at heart, and they actually commit crimes against people every single day in their own countries.
What about the UN supporting the immigrant push coming up here that went on for the last 4 years? The UN was putting out pamphlets and aid centers to help them get across. We should honestly we should fine the UN for that. You want us to stay in? All right, here's what it'll cost you.
How much of USAID was financed to the UN?
Or
I'd be curious, because you think about it, guys. How many times has products been sent to other countries in a disaster with USAID on it, and then we find out that the people in need aren't even getting it? It's there for show.
The strong men, the poor people in this country are taxed to feed the wealthy people in a poor country. Okay, so Chad says we need leaders from the ground up that won't jerk us around. 100%, Chad, you're on point. David says freedom cannot be stifled from what if. Fred says it's time to become honest. What?
I know, right?
David says, I doubt it. Clickbait. That's talking about the UN. He says, let China have the UN.
Well, I mean,
all this 100%. I'm game for it. I love it. I love the news coming out. I love watching the leftist head explode. What about Trump saying that the U.S. is going to take over Gaza, going to build them houses, make the place pretty and shiny and everything else? I'm game. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know that he wants to run it as a United States territory, but he's saying get people engaged from outside sources and turn it into something.
It's not what he sounded like. He said U.S. is going to take responsibility
of getting it going
for Gaza. So maybe he'll build a few sandals, a couple Trump towers.
They want it to look like Dubai and make it a beautiful.
Hey, you know what?
Step
that's
in the Middle East.
That's one way to build peace, is make Gaza productive and economic, whatever.
But I don't want our soldiers there.
No.
And I think that this should be something that all of the Middle East maybe puts money into. If you make a healthy, safe Gaza, then the Middle East stays safe. Well, I mean, look at Dubai. Look at other
I think the Middle
cities.
East like having that as... You know what? You look better if you go out clubbing one night if you take one ugly friend.
I don't know where you're going with that, but
Gaza's the Middle East ugly friend.
Israel has some beautiful cities that are pretty incredible, and I think that is what Trump is saying. I think he was spouting.
I think Trump just says stuff right now to see how the rhetoric of the left will be.
Fred, he says, I hesitate.
I'm hesitant about Gaza. But I feel like Trump is playing chess with that one.
I think so too. And it got on the news every second. And I mean, Benji, whatever, Netanyahu was in there. And I'm sure it was a surprise to him for him to say, it'll be ours. But what I think he meant to say was like, let's take it back and let's build a place worthy of people that can live there. Because right now it's in shambles. I mean, you go to ruins across this country and they're better, supported than the Gaza Strip. The thing is, it's a terrifying place, both for the Israelis and it's a horrendous place for the Palestinians.
I don't know. It's
Jeff says Gaza will become the newest and biggest terror target in the Middle East.
think
mean,
that
we're
would happen.
there.
I don't know. But anyways, we only have a few minutes left, and I've got to bring up my favorite thing of the week. Last weekend, the DNC elected its 2025 officers.
I didn't
And
even know they were having their
Yes.
convention, so that was
And
a shocker to me.
everyone should, right after this show, not during it, please, go onto YouTube and watch it on either the Babylon Bee, Asmongold, find any of them where they're going to kind of pick it apart with you. I'm going to hit some of the highlights. I'm not going to play any of the videos because that's high-tech stuff. And let's face it, guys, if you guys came here for high-tech stuff, you'd be real disappointed. They started off with the land acknowledgement in Native American. And
You can't even make this up. You guys just have to go see it. We don't have any clips, huh?
no, because I don't know how to get them to play on there. We've tried. It doesn't work. And there's something I've got to learn to do.
Was it on Facebook or X that you shared?
I shared it with you on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Okay, go
Yes.
to YouTube and look up DNC 2025.
Yes. Okay. Chad says the outgoing chair explaining the gender identity, explaining the parody of who can run for vice chair. The chair was not, but they had to have equal numbers, men and women, run for vice chair in this. And he was getting confused. He's like, okay, so if we have one woman, and then at every vote, they had to count people out. So they had to,
It was so confusing.
if a woman got 0 votes, they had to kick a guy out with her.
Yeah.
Just to, and
They have learned nothing.
it's
They
hilarious.
have learned
then-
nothing from this last election, and they made a mockery of themselves with their DEI explosion.
All the black women are the one that gets up there just sings soul. We shall over. That was her whole spiel to become chair, was her singing soulfully twice. And it was fantastic. And then
And it sounded like she was talking like she was a slave in this country.
I know.
And my favorite part was who won at the end.
Oh, well, we'll get to that. But and then in the middle they stopped to have a line dance. Intermission, I guess. And it's insane. Insane.
You gotta say who won.
Oh, we're gonna go to that. So we'll just move right on to that. Okay, so the
I'm
chair
still
who won
laughing.
is Ken Martin. He's from Minnesota. He's like
What color is he though?
he's a white guy.
White guy. And who was the second guy who won?
Oh, well, I've got to break down how they do their vice chairs because they have to have multiple vice chairs so they can get women in there and all the different everything. But anyways, so Ken Martin, he's from Minnesota. He's like the Democrat farm commissioner there or something for the Democrat Party, Minnesota. Vice chair for civic engagement and voter participation is Raina Walters Morgan. All right. Another white lady. Vice chair. Now they have 3 vice chairs. Artie Blanco, which if I remember, Artie Blanco is kind of the sanest of everyone there. Malcolm Kenyatta and David Hogg.
Y'all know David Hogg?
Our friend. Yeah.
He got up and gave probably the best speech, I think. One of the
He
best
did.
ones.
Well, he did the one that they really should pay attention to because the Democrat Party they lost all young men.
The youth.
They lost all young men. And what they don't understand is they've lost young men because of their DEI push leaves young men out of the
Which was nothing
out
but
of the
all their
society.
speeches were DEI
Especially-
speeches. it was laughable. And you had to have someone they were literally telling them why I'm a black woman, or I'm a gay man, or I'm this and that. And you're like,
I'm the
what
first.
are you going to do for the party?
I'm
Nobody
the
cares.
First non-binary to run for
Yes.
Democrat Party.
It was like they were listing their DEI accomplishments, what are literally being born.
Ken Martin is probably a logical choice for him. I mean, but he did double down when asked. And also MSNBC kind of ran it. And so MSNBC
that's weird.
Kicked it off with who thinks Trump won because of racism, like a voice vote. And I'm like, are you guys, they are retarded. And so they're just poising themselves to lose again. They don't understand. And everyone, Katie Adams Anderton, she's the Utah Democrat chair, friend on the show. She's been on the show multiple times. She's running for secretary of the Utah Democrat Party, and I hope she gets it. And I support her in that.
When is their convention?
I don't know. I need to ask her more. I told her to come on the show.
I'm surprised that she decided to go for the state party position.
I know.
I think
I kind of thought she was backing out, but I don't know. I think she still wants, and I'm hoping right now the Democrat Party is thirsting for some common sense.
She's got great common sense.
Yeah. But one thing she didn't have is she still doesn't think that the
I almost said for a Democrat, which would be rude. It's not.
That would be rude.
She's a neat lady.
She is. She's an awesome lady. But that DEI push is what lost them at least a large percentage.
That and the whole non-democracy thing where they implanted their nominee rather than democratically elected them.
I still want to see a poll that comes out and says which one is worse, which one cost them the most. But it is wild. If you guys get the chance, go and watch it. Chad is on board. He's saying go and watch it. It's
so Chad says
it's hands down the funniest thing you'll watch all week.
Chad says the outgoing chair explaining the gender identity is priceless.
Yes.
Fred says the only time the Palestinians have advanced forward in a positive way, it has been the direct result of terrorism from the Palestinians. Chad is from Washington. Hi, Chad. And he says a good friend of mine from Washington State was a delegate, and the videos and pictures he posted were hilarious. Honestly, you guys, this is stranger than fiction. Again, you can't believe you're watching a legitimate organization who has held power in this country for either in the House, in the Senate, or in the presidency. It was like watching a clown show.
They have been taken over by the woke mind virus. Taken over like one of them alien movies where the worm comes to Earth and gets in brains. It would, if they played it on Saturday Night Live, you'd have thought it was. That's exactly what I thought.
Deal. I thought
I thought it was a joke.
Is it a parody? Because it was so stupid. It was so I can't. This is why when David Hogg is making the most sense in a speech, it's
David Hogg has been practicing speeching a lot. We saw when he spoke with Spike, when he had that debate with Spike. He's done better. He did fairly well, but his message, the anti-gun message. I hope that continues to be a losing message, and I will fight to make it a losing message.
O'Malley wants to know how we watch that crap. I'm so impressed.
O'Malley,
we watch it because we have to.
No, I watched it, and I've watched it every day through different sources because it's funny.
It's very funny.
It is.
I
am on the ground. If you see me walking around with headphones on and laughing, know that I'm playing that in my pocket because it is funny. When that lady starts singing, that's her whole campaign spiel. Everyone else gets up there and, I'm a black woman and you need to vote for me. And that lady says,
she says, I am a black woman. You need to pay attention to me. I am at the stage right now. And everyone's like, what? Where are we?
And you're
we are watching you. You're the one at the mic.
All you guys are black women. And then, but that one lady, she gets up there. There's something that's been on my mind the last couple of weeks. We shall, and just start singing.
It was crazy.
It's that uncomfortable funny. It is hilarious. It's like Napoleon Dynamite funny.
Yeah,
or,
yeah. It was
Yes,
very
like,
unironically funny. And it was like they had 6 men and 6 women. You had to
Oh,
have the same.
the
and
parody.
then
And when he's trying to explain it, you can tell he doesn't get it. And he's
they
like,
got called out for getting it wrong a little bit, and they had
Oh,
to
yeah.
go over it again.
And
Guys,
he's
this
just
is
like-
nuts.
he's like, thank God, after this, I don't have to do this ever again.
It reminds me of the socialist, the socialist
Socialist of
convention
USA convention
where
in 2016.
the lady is just trying to get through. Excuse me,
Point of personal
please
privilege.
do not use gender
Please do not use.
to describe people. And then she's like, okay. And then the next guy is like, somebody is talking and I get distracted and I'm having anxiety. And they're like, okay, please stop talking.
Please don't clap.
It was like watching preschoolers try to have a real meeting. You guys, you can't, this could not be real. Now, we have our state convention coming up in May on the 17th, which, I mean, it always has its own drama and excitement and even boring times and all of that. But if our convention was ran this way, no one would be a delegate.
Oh,
The
man.
party would implode.
It's hilarious.
Let's just go for merit. I mean, one of the guys gave a pretty great speech.
I think
it was the non-binary guy. No, it wasn't him, because he was listing all of his credentials for why he
Yeah.
needs to be up there, and it was a whole DEI, lust fest.
Oh, sorry.
It was insane. I couldn't believe what I was watching was real. I thought maybe Babylon B put it together at first.
Don't Walk Run does a good breakdown of it, which Don't Walk Run I think is tied with the Babylon B. But yeah, I've just gone Asmongold. I think did my favorite because he's very intelligent, but he's kind of deadpan when he does it. So it's not he's not purposely making fun of it, but he's making fun of it. O'Malley May says, how do you guys watch that crap? I'm so impressed. LOL.
She's talking
I
about
just
a
can't.
hernia.
No, man. Yes, she's sporting a hernia right now. I've been on the phone with her a few times this week. I feel like belly laughing and anxiety is exactly what I don't need right now with a hernia.
Oh my gosh.
You're screwed if you ever get a hernia, Jared. You're a belly laughter too.
He
Yes,
accused me of having roids earlier.
I didn't accuse you.
You thought my
I
moving
said
around was because of my
I
roids.
No, I was telling them to not think it was your roids. that
Yeah,
was
there's
acting
no
up.
roids.
That's what I kind of said.
You think a woman squirms, and that's what's her problem.
No, I
Immediately, that's
didn't
what you
think that. No,
of.
I was telling them not to
You
think
were
that.
thinking that
I
for
was
them.
telling you. Remember Ace Ventura
Of course.
and the
Ask you a question.
when
course.
she's like, anyways.
We need to just grow up and get
I
an
refuse
honest
to.
government and enjoy the things that make us laugh.
Witch hazel.
And nobody has roids, O'Malley. So just witch hazel.
So if Holly was to buy witch hazel, where do you get witch hazel at?
You can get it anywhere. Witch
Really?
hazel is one of the oldest remedies ever. I used witch hazel when I was young to clean my face.
Where do you find it? Like is it
QVS
in a
Walmart,
store? Really? They have it in store? Okay.
next to the hydrogen peroxide.
And is it just below the eye of Newt, or where are we talking? She makes her own witch
Of course
hazel.
you do. Of
And
course
you'll
you do.
make Holly a nice, gentle witch hazel.
I don't need it.
with
I really don't. Yeah, Fred. There's endless reasons women might score. See, you went to roids. At least
I didn't.
Fred knows not
I-
to jump to that first.
I didn't go to roids.
Girl could be sitting on her coat.
I kept them from going to roids.
Okay, we already talked about this too long. You kept them from going because you were already there.
I'm telling you.
I know.
But
I
no,
know.
you guys, if you're not fighting a hernia, you should go watch this. It is fun. And I'll tell you right now.
You're killing me, Smalls. We have a guest to introduce pretty soon,
Is
don't we?
it-
And you've got to explain.
You got the hot blisters. Anyways,
Okay,
was
I don't
for-
want any more of this. You're turning our show to crap, literally.
But it does make you feel better. Although I'm not a Republican, that is the party I've chosen to support right now until the pendulum gets to its peak and they go stupid again.
I just don't understand why they learned nothing.
The Democrat
How is-
Party, they are Icarus, 100%. They
Look at them.
flew too close to us. And the USAID may be a reason, because the USAID, all this
Oh,
support
yes.
they've been getting, right now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all that support the Democrats have had for 20 years
Yes.
since Clinton is false. It's fake support.
It's just like the money laundering we're seeing in
Yep.
Ukraine. And I guarantee, let's dive into the Pentagon, because I do want to dive into the IRS too, but with this algorithm and with this, with
I
the
can't wait. I think this will be a
pinpoint accuracy where they're finding just patterns, these patterns that just are popping out of the screen at them of constant spending for the same stuff in all these different departments, going to the same bank accounts, or might be going to bank accounts named something different, but the Clinton Foundation
and
was in there.
it jumps from foundation to foundation.
Why do
So they
foundations
launder
need
it.
your tax dollars? It's just like the Planned Parenthood thing. Everybody in a 501c3 or any foundation, their job is to raise money from donors. The federal government should not be throwing money at foundations. They just shouldn't.
Fred
I'm
says-
ready to say done with all of them.
Fred says, Holly, how did you start talking about roids on the show? O'Malley May says,
No,
hey,
he
the
didn't
human
say
body
that.
is a thing, Holly. Don't be embarrassed. And she will give you a bottle of witch hazel for cleaning your face.
I've got a better product now. I used to use witch hazel back in the day, but I've got a great product now. And
Who has more members of the swamp, Republican or Democrat? They both have members, but just listen to who balls, I imagine is what I meant, the most over USAID.
Jeff, I agree with you.
That is a tough one, isn't
And
it?
this is going to be the hard part. As Republicans, I am a Republican. I am here for it. I am ready to see who on my side is just as dirty as the people on the other side, because this problem has been in our government. And you said it's been in our government since Kennedy. Look how many people have profited because of it. And both sides have been in power. The Bushes.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, right now's the time for people who truly care about the well-being of this nation, like myself, I should, to join the party and make it what you want out of it. So we need people to join. We need logical Democrats to join the Democrat Party and make it honest. And we need logical and honest Republicans to join the Republican Party and make it honest. Make it what you want to see. Make it your vision. I would love to see a logical progressive party in the United States, and I'd like to see probably an honest and logical conservative party. Or
here's the thing, though, there's a certain type of person, and this is a good or bad, take it however, that runs for these offices. And the higher up they go requires somebody that has that drive and that desire. And they have good intentions. I'm sure all of them do at the start. But I wonder, like the people that really want that absolute power, it's hard for people who have good intentions to stay good in DC, I bet. In the state, I bet. Because we have so many other things, foundations and lobbyists and parties and all these things that you've got to play ball. And it's hard. You got to know what your North Star is, of course. But I wonder how many people are going to get wrapped up in this who were just doing what they were taught by their predecessor.
Has our politicians ever been honest?
It's a good question.
I'll
How
bet
will we
they
ever
never
know?
I mean, remember Thomas Jefferson, like right out the gate, bought Louisiana
Right.
from Napoleon, so Napoleon could wage war on Europe.
This thing is war is hell. We need to be done with it.
Yes.
We need to stay out of it. America needs to fix itself.
Well, we need to go back to a small government. Honestly, our federal government should be inconsequential for the average citizen's life. Inconsequential.
I wonder how we're going to get rid of the IRS.
I don't know. I mean,
and Fred,
I could
power
think
is
of a few ways.
intoxicating, and it is because we are human. We're perfectly imperfect.
I like trebuchets. Trebuchet sounds. We could put like a swing set.
Are you speaking French again?
On the trebuchet for the IRS, and they could go for a swing ride and into the ocean. Or
will you talk about our guest that we have on tonight?
Okay, yes, we've got a guest who's coming on here in 5 minutes. Okay, O'Malley May says you have to try her regimen. It's good stuff.
Okay, we got it.
Fred says power's intoxicating. O'Malley May says send some with me. Okay, so the guest we have coming on is a Utah boy who went over to Ukraine to fight the good fight against Russia. And he's coming on. Dave is a friend of his. They were in the unit, he was in Dave's unit with him. And I'm kind of interested in what happened to him when he went over there, because he was still a part of the Air Guard over here.
I'm curious how, and Dave, maybe you know, but how does someone from our military get to go fight in a war in another country?
Yes. Well, it sounds like he had to go on to IRR for it, but we'll ask him that. But I'm also...
What is that?
Inactive Ready Reserve.
Okay.
I'm also kind of wondering the condition of things over there. Is it? I don't think. I mean, honestly, my opinion, I don't see a way for Ukraine to win on its own. And I don't see a way for all the nations to keep pouring money at it.
No.
So either other nations must get involved, or it's a doomed prospect. And hopefully
they need to come to the table.
Hopefully new administrations popping up around the world can cause a peace to break out. But both sides will have to give up some stuff. Ukraine, I think, will lose land, which is probably the most optimal thing for them, is to just lose land. They've already lost a generation of young men. But I think Russia at that point, Poland, I would say Poland, France, Germany, all of them need to have a joint base in the Ukraine as a declaration of no more.
Let's just get them both to the table to have these peace talks and get our funding out of there, for one.
What do you mean, quit laundering money to the Biden?
I just heard on another show that I listened to a list of people who have fallen out of windows, mysteriously drowned with 2 gunshots in their head, committing suicide, and another guy suicide in a hotel room where he wrote the note, but it's not in his handwriting.
He typed the note.
But all of these are people who have either talked badly about Vladimir Putin or Vladimir's handling of the war. I don't think it's both of them are run by dictators.
Both Vladimirs have executed people who've spoken out against them.
Both dictators. There's no elections, especially Ukraine hasn't done an election at all.
No.
And Putin won by 96%. And all the list of people that have died sound like that made up the 4% that voted against him.
What about the last Mexico election, where like 32 people running for office were off? All right, let's see if Troy's there.
You didn't even say his name when you were given this spiel. We need to introduce him.
Well, I will when I bring him on. All right, we'll see if he's here and ready.
We know his name is Troy, and we know David has set his.
We're probably not going to be giving out his last name.
And we thank you, David. And we also have a huge time difference between here and
he's
Ukraine.
In Ukraine. He's like, it's like 20 miles from the front lines.
Oh, you're not going to give his last name, but you're going to give his location.
Yeah, he's in Ukraine.
20 miles.
I don't want to give his last name.
Let's drop a pin.
Yeah, Troy.
Jeff says instead of Trump taking over Gaza. How about Ukraine? I don't want either. I don't know that we want to be in Russia's backyard, nor do I think Putin would ever allow it, which is one of the reasons even the thought of Ukraine being in NATO causes great heartache in Vladimir Putin's head. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not comfortable with taking stuff over. Okay, Troy's not ready just yet, so we'll keep chatting until he is, and then I guess when he pops on, he'll pop on.
So I was able to speak with Bridger a little bit, Bridger Bollender, who will be a guest in the coming weeks. Getting these folks to be on is extremely difficult because they are in session, and Bridger's running a bill currently. And so we'll keep you updated on that.
Yes. All right, Troy, can you hear us?